Welcome back, everyone. If you're here, it means you're a focused learner looking for the most direct, impactful way to really grasp complex ideas. Well, today we're exploring an ancient foundational text. It's a survival story that's literally thousands of years old, yet it holds the absolute ultimate key to modern perseverance. We're going to unpack the classic Buddhist Jataka tale, specifically the story of the Sandy Tract. So get ready, because this ancient text contains a literal blueprint for breaking through your most impossible barriers.
Think about it. What happens when you give up right before your greatest breakthrough? It's a haunting thought, isn't it? We've all been there for sure. Whether it's a tough career path, a brutally challenging course of study, or just a massive personal goal. You put in the work, you see absolutely zero results, and you just want to throw in the towel. Okay, let's dive into this explainer and see exactly how an ancient text addresses this very specific human vulnerability.
Section 1. The Monk Who Quit.
So our source material kicks off in the ancient city of Savathi. We meet a monk who is just filled with faith and this burning desire for enlightenment. He actually receives a meditation subject directly from the Buddha himself. And to achieve his goal, he commits to a rains retreat. But not just a weekend, 3 whole months. He completely retires to the deep forest, totally isolated and dedicated to this singular transformative goal.
He's out there in the forest, attempting this really rigorous, intense meditation. But tragedy hits. Despite all that initial enthusiasm, he fails to see any immediate results. He's unable to produce those spiritual visions or the mental clarity he expected. So he rapidly descends from having these sky-high hopes to just complete surrender. He starts thinking, well, I must just be an incapable person, and he abandons his efforts entirely. He returns to the city in total defeat, and when his fellow monks find out, they are completely baffled and they take him straight to the Buddha.
Section 2. Lost in the Desert.
Now, when the Buddha hears about this monk's total surrender, he doesn't just pat him on the back and offer some simple encouragement. Instead, he transports his audience back in time to show the true catastrophic cost of giving up. He sets the stakes with a massive merchant caravan. We are talking 500 carts. This isn't just a casual stroll. This is a heavy, extremely high-stakes commercial expedition led by the Bodhisattva, which is the Buddha in a previous life. And their path requires them to cross a deadly 60-league sandy desert.
To really understand the severity of this journey, you've got to picture these brutal travel conditions. By day, the desert sand was as fine as dust and boiling hot. The text literally describes it as being like glowing charcoal. You couldn't even step on it. So they had to camp under awnings all day long. They only traveled by night. And since there were 0 landmarks in this endless sea of sand, they had to rely entirely on the stars for navigation, just like a ship sailing across a vast ocean.
But disaster strikes on what they know is their final night in the desert. At dusk, they set out. By tomorrow, they're going to be safe. But at midnight, the exhausted guide, who, keep in mind, has been awake for countless nights, he finally falls asleep. Without guidance, the oxen slowly turn around. By dawn, the caravan wakes up only to realize they are back exactly where they started the previous evening. It's a total nightmare scenario. They've consumed their final rations. They're out of wood, they're out of water, and frankly, they are out of hope. The merchants unyoke their carts, crawl underneath them, and just surrender to despair.
Section 3. Breaking the Rock. Now, while everyone else is just accepting death, the caravan leader, the Bodhisattva, absolutely refuses to surrender. He knows that if he gives up, 500 people are going to die. So, he doesn't panic. Using some seriously brilliant deductive reasoning, he walks out into the early morning cool and spots something that should be impossible: a single patch of kusa grass. He immediately deduces that grass simply cannot grow in a blistering desert unless water is feeding the roots from below. So he rallies these despairing men, hands out spades, and commands them to dig right where the grass is. And they dig. They dig a well 60 cubits deep.
But then, at 60 cubits down, their spades strike a solid rock floor. The immovable rock. These men are physically exhausted, they're mentally broken. Hitting this rock, it's the final straw. They drop their tools, completely give up, and just wait for death.
But the leader, he actually goes down into the well himself. He puts his ear to the rock, and he hears the faint, undeniable sound of flowing water beneath it. He climbs out, finds his young servant boy, hands him this incredibly heavy iron sledgehammer, and gives a final command. He says, "If you give up now, we will all perish. Take this sledgehammer and do not yield." He demands that this young boy strike the rock when literally every single other adult in the caravan has completely surrendered.
And the boy listens. He doesn't give in to the despair all around him. He climbs down, raises that heavy iron sledgehammer, and brings it down with absolutely everything he has. The rock shatters. And what happens next is just spectacular. A pillar of water as high as a palm tree bursts out of the earth. This endless stream saves all 500 carts. They're able to cook their rice, water their oxen, finally reach their destination, and they actually end up doubling and quadrupling their profits.
Section 4. The Ultimate Revelation. So, the Buddha finishes telling this thrilling, high-stakes survival story to the monk who quit. And here comes the brilliant twist. The Buddha reveals that the despairing caravan actually represents his current followers. He himself was the caravan leader who found the grass. But the most shocking revelation of all? That young servant boy, the only one who refused to quit, the one who took the sledgehammer and broke the rock to save hundreds of people, was the very same monk sitting in front of him who had just given up on his meditation.
The Buddha delivers this incredibly powerful rebuke. He says, "In the past, your relentless efforts saved everyone. Why give up now?" He basically uses the monk's own past victory to prove his inherent capability today. He's essentially telling him, look, you are not an incapable person. You are the rock breaker. You just forgot who you are.
And this brings us to the core concept of the source material, virya. It translates to the energy and determination to push through obstacles without yielding to despair. It's relentless effort. Upon hearing the story and finally realizing his own capacity for virya, the monk's mind is completely transformed. The Buddha preaches the Four Noble Truths, and that very monk, who, remember, an hour ago felt like a total failure, immediately pushes through his mental barriers and attains enlightenment.
Section 5. Effort in Daily Life.
So the crucial point here is that the brilliance of this text isn't just that it's a religious parable, it is an incredibly practical psychological framework. Let's treat these desert survival tactics as an ethical blueprint for your own career, your studies, or your personal goals. Point 1. Don't yield to despair when resources, whether that's money, time, or energy, run low. Point 2. Look for your kusa grass. When everything around you looks barren, find that one hidden sign of progress and dig right there. 3. Keep striking when you hit a metaphorical rock. And 4. Let your past victories fuel your present perseverance. When you really want to quit, remember the times you didn't, and let that be your hard evidence that you can succeed again.
You really have to conceptualize the difference between hitting the wall versus breaking the rock. In our modern lives, we so often talk about hitting a wall as this definitive stopping point. We think it's some sort of sign from the universe that we just aren't meant to succeed. But this text reframes that entirely. The solid rock floor wasn't a wall meant to stop them. It was literally just the lid covering the water. The obstacle is simply the final layer before the breakthrough. It just requires one more strike of the sledgehammer.
Which leaves us with this final, provocative thought for you to take away today. What is the rock you need to break through today? What's the barrier you've hit that has made you want to just retreat under the carts and give up? Remember the tale of the sandy tract. The water is there, right beneath the surface. You have the capability. You just need to pick up your sledgehammer and strike. Keep learning, keep pushing, and I'll see you in the next explainer.